Hey, fans all over the world, it's Daddy P with Slap Pappy Gorilla. What? We are finally live. 1 second. Fight fans all over the world, finally we are live. I apologize. I made it by 7:30, so that's a little better than last time. But thank you all for tuning in. Dog, I had somebody here. They left. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna still jump into it. I just want to start out by saying thank you for everyone who are subscribers. Thank you for all of you that participated last night in the live stream, and I appreciate you all. Also, I would like to tell everybody, I'm gonna wait till some people get in the chat before I kind of go a little bit more into what I want to get into. But I am gonna go ahead and start talking about the fighters. Lomachenko, Devin Haney. This is fight week. One more day. Tomorrow will be the weigh-in, and tomorrow is gonna kind of give us a better look at what we're looking at as far as how the fight can go down. We already know basically Lomachenko is the smaller guy, and he should comfortably make 135. The question is for Devin Haney, how comfortably will he be able to make 135? You know, he's been making it for a long time, so that's one of the biggest concerns. And that's one of the biggest concerns that me personally that I have, because I know that Devin Haney does have some skills that can give Lomachenko problems. But if he come in, too drained, it's going to be a very uphill battle all night. So, and Loma can make things very stressful on you if you are a step behind, because and one of the things that was supposed to be in Devin Haney's favor is speed. He's supposed to be the younger, stronger, faster guy. That's what's been talked about so much, and a lot of that stuff will go out the window. The younger, he's still younger. The stronger, could go out the window if he's a little drained. The faster could go out the window if he's too drained. But the thing about it is, Devin Haney has been making the weight, and he's been, on fight night, he's been pretty resilient, because last time he made the weight for Cambosis, he didn't look good on the scale. He really didn't. He didn't look good on the day before the fight trying to weigh in. He made it, but he didn't look that good. On fight night, the reason why I say he proved to be pretty resilient is because on fight night he looked pretty good, And so I think that things could kind of be a little different though if he comes in like barely making the weight. But anyway, it is what it is, and Devin Haney is who he is. Lomachenko is, he's been a beast for a long time, man. But no one's worrying about the respect that's on Lomachenko's name. Lomachenko is a name, and that's why Devin Haney want to fight him. Devin Haney wants to fight Lomachenko because he's a name. He is a name that he's made a name for himself in boxing, to the point where, if you beat him, you could he definitely a nice name to have on your resume as a win. Now, if he loses to him, the thing about having a guy that's like a legend, if he loses to him, his career is not over. He just have to rebuild. You know what I'm saying? But if he loses Lomachenko, he just have to rebuild. He's young, you know. The thing about Lomachenko, this is probably, you could almost say his last opportunity. His last opportunity to be undisputed. And I mean, where is he gonna go if he lose this fight? Now I'm gonna tell you, he can go down to 130. He can go down to 130 and make some noise. Because I'm gonna tell you this: if Lomachenko lose to Devin Haney, he does not want to see Tank Davis or Shakur Stevenson. I promise you that. He don't want to see them. If he lose to Devin Haney, if he's gonna I mean, it's word that he's gonna retire if he lose, but I don't believe that, man. You know, he'll retire like Tom Brady retired. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these guys put a lot of their heart and soul into a sport from young, from very young. It's hard to give it up. You know, that's why you see these football players, man. That's why you see some of these basketball players. They've been giving their heart and their soul to the sport for so long. They don't know how to function without it being in their life. They don't know how to live everyday life without saying, "Oh, I got to go to practice today." You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to function. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's become so ingrained in them, and boxing is not a seasonal sport. Like, you know, football comes usually from fall to winters, you know. Basketball, you know, it comes in this little time. Baseball, you know, it comes in this time. But it's like boxing is year round. You know what I'm saying? So it's no certain season for boxing, you know. Now you have some dates that's probably pretty coveted. You know, a lot of people want to have those Mexican holidays, you know, stuff like that. But as far as like seasonal, nah, man, you box year round. So it's gonna be hard to see Lomachenko retire. I don't even if he lose. I honestly, he might take him some time off. He might take a hiatus, but I really don't think that Lomachenko is gonna retire even if he loses. But for him, the option to go down to 130 is still there. He's a smaller guy. He would probably have to just reacclimate to losing that weight going down that small. But I mean, he looks like his walk around weight ain't that far. You know what I'm saying? From ain't too far from 130. So he might be able to make it pretty decently. So I don't know. That's an option for him for Lomachenko. He's a little limited, a little more limited than Devin. But Devin is so young, man. He can bounce back from a loss. And when you lose into a legend, like Lomachenko has become like a living legend, man. You know, I mean, just how he's been talked about. You know, he has a good story as well. You know, uh, because he's been boxing on high level since the amateurs. You know, and that's what afforded him a lot of his opportunities. So I don't know, man. I don't know what will happen. I'm trying to wait for people to come in before I get into like some keys to victory. I told everyone that I would try to do that tonight. That we would talk about that and the undercard. I really don't know a lot about the undercard. I'm gonna be honest. I just know Oscar Valdez is on the undercard, and I don't know who else. You know, that's pretty decent name that's on the undercard. Um, but anyway, I'm gonna wait a little bit, but I'm gonna just keep talking about these fighters, man. It's a lot to. I'm excited for this fight. That's why I just can keep talking. I can go on and on and on and on because I am so excited about this fight, you know. And it's like this is a fight that, one of the fights when you hear that it's possible it can happen, you be like, oh yeah, I like to see that fight. That would be a real good fight. And it's here. So, in boxing, when we get those, it's like run with it, because the sport has morphed into something that, I mean, once a boxer establishes himself, especially as one of the best, he can basically fight who he want to fight, especially once he start making some decent money. He can fight whoever he want to fight, and he's still gonna make decent money. So that's, I mean, and this is the thing. I share this sometime with people. It's just my love philosophy on boxing. I'm very pro boxer. I try not to like bash a lot of these guys. If a guy talks real brash and they don't come close to even trying to back it up, I'll kind of hit them a little bit. But as far as like bashing boxers, man, I try not to do that because these guys put their life on the line just for our entertainment, just for my entertainment. So why would I try to disrespect you or say, oh, you scared of this person? It's not none of my business. I'm a boxing fan, so I just want to see good boxing. Yeah, there's certain fights I want to see, but if they don't happen, I mean, it just is what it is, you know. Um, the thing is, in any other environment, in anything you do for money, if you're an investor, you want to try to get the best for your money. In other words, you want to be able to, like, if you're a real estate investor, you want to be able to try to buy a piece of property for like 60, $70,000 and put about 30,000 in it and then make a profit of about 50, 60,000. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to do. So once a boxer established themselves as a name, if they want to fight one of the guys who's in the top 20 in their rankings and that in the sanctioning body rankings, I mean, hey, what is it to me? That's what investors do. You know, they want to make the most money for the least amount of what they put into it. So why wouldn't someone want to fight somebody like I'm gonna give you for instance, and I ain't trying to mess with nobody. If you Floyd Mayweather and they paying you like 20 million a fight, 30 million, 40 million a fight, and then they tell you that okay, you can fight Robert the Ghost Guerrero, you know what I'm saying, and still make that same money. I mean, why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You know, and Floyd already put his work in from earlier days. You know, when Showtime handed Floyd all that money, told him, "Hey, we got a contract. You gonna make this much money per fight, or this much money overall, and for this many fights." Floyd, it ain't matter who he fought. You know, I mean, yeah, he gave us still some decent ones, but I mean, Marcos Madonna was not on Floyd Mayweather level. Just because he beat Adrian Broner, he was not on Floyd Mayweather level. Everybody knew that, you know. And now I'm gonna tell you a good fight to me, and I shared it. Miguel Cotto and Floyd Mayweather, and everybody say, "Oh well, Pacquiao beat him." Yeah, but he ain't beat him at the weight that they fought at. He ain't beat him at 54. You know, Cotto was drained down to a lower weight, and but I'm just saying. But that was a good fight, man. It really was a good fight. Cotto kind of held his own a little bit, you know. But Floyd Mayweather, man, he was like levels above those guys. A lot of them. Towards the end of his career, I wasn't mad at Floyd though, man. Like I say, Floyd had put his work in early, and that's what you do. And anything in any like whatever job you in, you put your work in early so that you can coast through your years before retirement. You might have started at the bottom and had to do some things, that was a little harder than what other people had to do in order to get to where you want to be. So now once you get to management, you can coast your way on to retirement, you know. So if you want to do that on your job, what makes it wrong for a boxer to do that? Somebody who put their life on the line, get punched in the face for a living. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad. And this is the thing. I like the fact that the sport of boxing is kind of coming full circle. We starting to get more good fights at this time. I mean, you know, better than some of the past years. But at the same time, it hasn't been like, you know, a golden era like what the Four Kings was. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we've been getting some decent fights. So I mean, as long as the sport's giving us some things we want to see, I'm good, you know. I mean, it's some fights that's gonna be hard to be made. The sport is taking on a different face, and the reason why is because I heard some people talking about. I think that was on USA Media. What's the guy name? I can't remember. Coach Malachi. Yeah, I watch him sometime. But I heard him talking about he be having some real good he has some good inside professional people that have to do with the sport of boxing sometime on his show. And I forgot who it was on the show, man. But they were talking about like pretty much like the business of boxing and kind of like what it's become. And I'm gonna tell you, man, the turn that the sport has taken is kind of a little, it's kind of good for the sport, but at the same time, you know, change is always a little hard. But you know, as far as like you see how we have more pay-per-views now, as opposed to boxing, like seeing high level boxing on network TV like HBO. Remember HBO had boxing, you know, and you long as you had an HBO subscription, you could see some pretty decent fights. And then, you know, you might see a bigger fight per view. But now, you know, what the sport has become and what media has become, you know, has made it where you know, pretty much now, man, the networks can't afford to broadcast that stuff and pay the guys what they want, you know. So it has to be a pay-per-view atmosphere. It's sad to say, but it's just what it is, you know. And the talk, I think, on the show that I was listening to, you know, they were talking pretty much about the business. But this is the thing, this is the reality of it, is that HBO being the big network that it is and that it was for the sport of boxing, they had to shut down because they could no longer, like, businesses don't like to lose money. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Like, if you are a business owner, you understand losing money. If something is losing you money, you know you're going to cut it off sooner. You want to try to cut it off sooner than later. So HBO, that entity of their network wasn't flourishing. You know what I'm saying? Like it was at one time. So bye boxing, you know. And then it was an opportunity for Showtime, but Floyd Mayweather already had to made his little turn, you know what I'm saying, and took a nice spread from Showtime. And so since, like, boxing has continually been going towards being like basically all pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Any fight that's a fight that's worth watching, you almost got to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? To watch it. So what ended up happening with entities like Top Rank, you know, that had, you know, deals with HBO, they had to find somewhere else to land. So as far as with making the deal with ESPN was like a no-brainer for them. But for fighters like Terrence Crawford, that was like a dream come true, because now you have a new entity that needs to have they need some boxers to like introduce themselves to the network, or introduce to the world that the network has premier boxers. So you want to watch this network if you want to watch boxing, So Terrence Crawford, so with top, and a lot of people were saying, man, Terrence Crawford is crazy for re-signing with Bob Arum, but they didn't know what Terrence Crawford was being offered. And then now, like, hindsight is 2020. Like, now you hear things like Bob Arum saying, man, we lost so much money on Terrence Crawford. I could have built what he said, I could have built a mansion in Beverly Hills. Now, that statement could very well be true. But this goes back to what I was just saying. Businesses don't like to lose money. But when have you ever known Bob Arum, the type of businessman that he is, to lose money? No. This is the thing. If he's losing money, he's doing it for a greater good. Now, I'm gonna tell you what that greater good was. Terrence Crawford was one of the fighters that paved the way for ESPN to have a big partnership with Top Rank. So, of course, Bob Arum was going to flash some money in front of Terrence Crawford. That's why he re-signed. I mean, hindsight is 2020. So now, yeah, he got offered more money than probably what they even felt he was worth, but that's a good thing for Terrence Crawford. Now, in hindsight, Bob Arum saying, oh, okay, yeah, I lost all this money, but for you, it was putting money in the bank for the future. Bob Arum would be dead and gone probably. And the partnership that ESPN has with Top Rank now is exclusive, and it's like it's working out well for both entities so far. You know what I'm saying? So, you see things like that, and then with other entities like the PBC, they had a lot of money they was throwing around to fighters, and they probably don't have as much now, but the fighters that established themselves and made names for themselves, or that were very marketable, they able to keep them. And the ones that weren't so marketable, they can't give them the money that they was giving out in the past. So so you see all of these things happening in the sport, and you seeing that the sport is taking a turn, you know what I'm saying? But that's okay, because I mean, you got to understand, man, with like media, with social media, and with technology, it's so easy to pirate stuff nowadays till, they can lose a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But they finding a way to try to get it where they're able to get money, like, to pay the fighters and get paid without losing their own money. They trying to figure that out, But yeah, man, the sport is what it is, man. And like I say, it's a lot of good fights I want to see, but I'm not gonna be mad if I don't see them, and I'm not gonna think of fighters any less. A fighter is like a gladiator, man. These guys go in, you can get punched. I was talking about this the other night, man. I mean, the body is not designed for combat, to be hit on. You know what I'm saying? To be bashed on, So when you go to throwing punches and hitting the human body, I mean, there's some things that's going to change, You hear a lot of these boxers, man, some of them are, they slurred, the speech slurred, they not that quick thinking as they used to be. You can tell by, like, when they do interviews, and you see how fighters, like I was talking about the other night, Adonis Stevenson, Gerald McClellan, man, these guys will never be the same ever again. And from one fight, Adonis Stevenson went in a coma after that one fight. He'll never be the same again. Gerald McClellan, that was after one fight. That wasn't like because of a he been in too many wars. No, one fight, Gerald McClellan, he'll never be the same again. You know what I'm saying? So, these boxers put their life on the line, man. Either they could die in the ring, or even if they don't die, their whole lives can be changed. So I don't take it lightly that for my entertainment, they put their life on the line, man. They put their longevity on the line, you know. And any person that risk anything, like I just going back to the investor that invests, when they look at a piece of property, like say a real estate investor, they see dollar signs, They don't see the fact that when they pay a certain amount of money for this property, um, that it's gonna fail. They don't look at that. I mean, yeah, they probably take in consideration some things, but most of the time they look towards the upside. These boxers, man, when they go into these boxing matches, they don't think about being a vegetable. They thinking how, man, I'm gonna be able to feed my family, and I'm gonna try to stay safe, but whatever happened, happened. They know what they signed up for, but at the same time, they it's not it's not their agenda to be a vegetable. But it very well can happen. So when a fighter says, okay, I've established myself, you know what I'm saying, as a boxer. So now, you can't just pay me any amount of money and say I got to fight this or that person. You got to pay me, and I want this and this and this. And yeah, I fight them. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem with that. And I understand it. So I don't like that. I try not to bash fighters. But like I said, if a fighter comes off as brash and just talking a lot of trash, and they not even trying to back it up, then okay, now I'm like, man, pump your brakes, bro. You know what I'm saying? You ain't trying to back up nothing. You talking reckless and crazy. So, that's the only way that I will not be pro boxer. Other than that, I'm pro boxer. I want to see these guys, if they putting their life on the line for my entertainment, I want to see them get the most that they can get, the best money they can get. So I'm for it. Um, but anyway, this fight is not one that you have to worry about that as far as I'm concerned. This fight is, to me, like I was saying, I've been saying it all week. I've been saying it all month. I've been saying it all since I heard the fight was coming down the pipe. I've been saying, man, this is a fight that really is really like a 50-50 pick 'em fight, man. It's no sure way to know how this fight is going to turn out until May the 20th. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to be watching it, bro. And I'm going to invite y'all as well. If you do not get the pay-per-view and you want to know about the fight, come on the channel, man. I'll call the fight. I'll do a live and call, but it's only going to be the main event. I'm not going to be on for hours on end. I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, but I can't. I ain't got to that level yet anyway. So, but I will watch the fight, and if anyone wants to join in, then yeah, I'll call it. I'll let you know what's going on. Just some fight commentary. But anyway, I lost my little 1 and 2 people that was coming in here. I ain't see no comments though. Nobody was making comments. But we 30 minutes in, y'all. I'm not gonna stay on here for no oh, okay. I see. Palms rising. We out here. Okay. We out here. I don't know. Well, I'm looking at the thing here saying 0. That's a good way to know to see people in the chat. So so since I got a person in the audience, hey, I'm gonna ask Palms Rising. How do you, first of all, just put in the chat with dollar signs who your guy is, who you're a fan of in this fight. Put the person's name If it's Lomachenko, put Lomachenko and a few dollar signs. If it's Devin Haney, then put a couple dollar signs and put Haney or Devin, whatever. Okay, you say Haney hands down for the money. See, that's what I'm talking about. And I've been promising people, hey man, you participate in the chat. You know, that's who on Friday night. That's who I'm picking. Somebody that's participating in the chat. You know, Palms Rising was here yesterday as well. So yeah, uh, very well could be one in the runnings for this $100 for sure. And put the dollar signs right behind Haney. Okay, so since you put the dollar signs, last night when we were talking, one of the things I said I wanted to talk about in the chat today was get this money. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was keys to victory for both guys. So Palms Rising. What do you think is one key to victory for the guy that you're rooting for, Devin Haney? So if Devin Haney is your guy, tell me at least one thing you think Devin Haney needs to do to win this fight. And I'm not talking about say, oh, he need to knock him out. No, I'm saying like fundamentally or like a short plan. What needs to be in the plans for Team Haney in order for Haney to be victorious in this fight? Let's get this money. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. And that's what this is all about. This is a segment of get this money. You know. All right, Palms Rising. Say use his size to his advantage. Use his size to his advantage. Establish the jab early. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Keys to victory. Establish the jab early. Use his size to his advantage. I guarantee you, on ESPN, if they do keys to victory, I guarantee you those two things are going to be right there for Devin Haney. Because this is the thing. Devin Haney being the fighter that he is and Lomachenko being the fighter that he is. Lomachenko has the wisdom, he has the knowledge in his head, and he also has experiences. You know what I'm saying? And now, if you look at how many fights they have, you'll say, oh, well, he got more experience. Okay, this is what I'm saying. Lomachenko and Devin Haney, I heard him say this in Top Rank, been having some stuff going for this fight. So I can't even remember what it was. I don't know. I can't remember if it was on Blood, Sweat, and Tears, or they had like this one segment of a show that was called Face to Face something interview. It was an interview where Devin Haney and Lomachenko was face to face, and they were just talking to each other about the interviewer was asking them different questions, you know. And this wasn't at the press conference. It was called Face to Face something. And one of the things that Devin Haney said was that Lomachenko has been in more championship fights than him. You know what I'm saying? Which is true. So that's what I mean by experience. That's the type of experience that I'm talking about. So real quick, what I'm gonna do, I'm going on BoxRec real quick. And I think I already had so just real quick. We know that Vasyl Lomachenko is 17-2. We talked about that last night. I can't remember what. Okay, now Devin Haney is 29-0. So if you look at Devin Haney's at his record, you see, okay, yeah, he's 29-0. And then you look at Lomachenko and say, oh, he's 17-2. You would say, oh, well, Haney got more experience as a professional. But the thing about it is, Lomachenko, like Devin Haney said, Lomachenko has the experience of being in more championship fights. So his level of competition, that type of experience is over Devin Haney. So with that being said, my point was Vasyl Lomachenko has the knowledge in his head, and he also has experiences to draw from in order to, that would be a good thing for him, an advantage that he has to win this fight. So with that being said, Devin Haney is going to have to use every attribute that he has in order to take the advantage and win this fight. And his youth and his size is basically like two of the biggest things that's going to have to be the forefront of him, having the opportunity to win this fight. And like he just said, establishing the jab early. You know what I'm saying? And we talked about that a little bit last night. And I had some guys in here. And I really enjoyed the commentary, man. It was a guy here, I can't remember his name, Bushido KI, something like that. He must be, I tell you, from the way he talked, he sounds like he's been in the sport, like either like training or he's been boxing or something. He pointed out some things that was very intriguing to me. Now, me, I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan of the sport. I've been watching the sport for a while, but like if a puncher, like if a boxer does a punch and fundamentally something's wrong with that punch, my naked eye is not going to be able to see that all the time. You know what I'm saying? But a person that's been in and around the sport as far as like a trainer or an actual boxer, they're gonna pick up on something like that. That's why I say the guy that was in here, it sounds like he's boxed before or he's been in and around the sport as far as like being a trainer or holding mitts, anything. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Palms Rising says Loma has boxed at the highest levels, so he's an excellent fighter, so it won't be easy for either of them. Yeah. But yeah, what I was saying is like one of the guys that was in the chat last night kind of brought up some things, as far as like fundamentally, some fundamental like technique problems that Devin Haney has. And it kind of was intriguing to me. I never really looked at it. I can't honestly key in on things like that unless it's like horribly noticeable. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, this guy throw a jab crazy. He throw his left hook real crazy. He ain't got no timing with it. Something like that. But as far as saying that, okay, the guy don't turn his hips, I don't turn over his punch when he turn his hips or something like that. Like, I'm not gonna be able to like really notice that. But anyway, so we got Palms Rising, very active in the chat, and he's giving a little bit of keys to victory for who he's a fan of, Devin Haney. He's saying that he needs to establish the jab early and use his size to his advantage. So last night, what we were talking about, the jab. See, and this is the thing. Devin Haney, he's had some fights that he's kind of, some people that's giving him some problems. He's even been hurt before in a fight. But this is the thing. Nobody's beat him yet. You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't had that close fight to the point where you say, oh, that was a robbery. So he don't have, it's not a blueprint for somebody really to beat him. And there is a blueprint that you could say, oh, well, he does this and this guy hurt him and with this punch or because of this, But the thing about it is he had to make an adjustment in order to, you know what I'm saying? In order to overcome that and still win the fight, you know? So it's not a blueprint for you to say, oh, this is how you beat Devin Haney. There's no blueprint. But there is a blueprint that you could say, okay, this is a way that Loma got beat before. So these are some things you can do in order to beat him. Now, he very well could have made adjustments and in camp fix some things. So the same thing might not work, but at the same time, it's still a blueprint on how you can beat Lomachenko. And Lopez showed that by putting that jab in his face. Now, one of the things we were talking about also last night, the guy that I was saying, Bushido KI, he made a very stellar point, and I made a point like that in one of my older videos, is that Lopez, yeah, he was able to use the jab and put most of those, or really all of those early rounds in the bag just with his jab because Lomachenko was tentative to throw like anything. He was not throwing punches. And you know, the thing was that Lopez first of all had a buzz around his name that he has power to knock you out with one punch. So you have to account for that. And then something that one of the points I made as well was that, like, I really believe that, yeah, he in his mind he had to account for it. In the camp, training camp, yeah, they had to, you know, they had to account for that in sparring. So this is the thing. I believe that Lopez touched him and showed him that, yeah, man, you don't want to test my power. And I believe that's why Lomachenko was very tentative to throw. He was tentative to be countered. You know, Teofimo Lopez, a good counter puncher. So, I mean, I guarantee you that was one of the reasons why Loma at first was very tentative. And the thing about Devin Haney is he don't have that perceived power. Like, it's not a buzz around his name that, oh, Devin Haney has power. So I got to a fight taking that in account and, you know, having a game plan with that on my mind. You know, it's just not there for Devin Haney. But one of the points I did make as well last night is, okay, Devin Haney at 135 may not have like that one punch knockout power, but he has to have some type of pop on his punches, or he could have lost some fights. And one of the fights that I brought up was Jojo Diaz. If Devin Haney didn't have, like, if he really has like pillow fists, Jojo Diaz would have walked through him and walked him down. You know what I'm saying? But because I believe Devin Haney has at least some decent pop on his punches, you know, Diaz he didn't want to take certain chances, and that's why he lost. He didn't take enough chances to do what he needed to do, and I guarantee you it's because, hey, he had to account for that pop that's on Devin Haney's punch, and I can't believe anything different than that. The guy's undefeated, 29-0. He got to have some type of pop on his, or else he would have had some losses for sure. I mean, and he's like a pure boxer, so he really don't have to have punching power as far as like one punch knockout power. He does need to have some enough pop on his punch to keep a fighter honest. In other words, to let the guy know you're not finna walk in here. Same thing they used to say about Floyd Mayweather at the end of his career, because at the beginning of his career, he was getting guys out of there. Floyd was knocking guys out. At the beginning of his career, he was knocking out champions. He was knocking out guys that people was like, man, I don't know about this fight. Yeah, okay, Floyd was knocking them out. And towards the tail end of his career, he wasn't really knocking people out. So people would say, "Oh, Floyd Fist, this and that." Okay, but he had enough pop to keep a fighter honest. Why do you think Canelo Alvarez couldn't just bullhorn Floyd Mayweather? Okay. He had enough pop on his punch to let that young man know you're not finna just come in here and do anything you want to do. So that's what I mean when I say Devin Haney has to have some type of pop on his punch. And okay, Palms Rise and say, yeah, Haney's youth can either be his advantage or his downfall. Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you this, something I talked about on the very first day. Well, I think it was like on a Monday. I promised to come in on Tuesday through Friday, but Monday I kind of did a trial run. I really have people in the chat. Really, I might have had one or two, but anyway, on that Monday, I talked about. I believe that was Monday. I talked about Devin Haney and how he came up in that Mayweather gym. Like once he was old enough to fight in the United States, because he fought in Tijuana, in Mexico, because he was too young when he first started his professional career to fight in the United States. So he had to go to Mexico. But once he became old enough to fight in the States, he moved to Las Vegas, and he was in and around that Mayweather gym. So being that he was in that Mayweather gym, man, he had access to a lot of good training, a lot of good tutelage, a lot, and he spent a lot of time with Floyd Mayweather Sr. Sr. was real big on Devin. Excuse me. He was real big on Devin Haney. And I believe he really poured some things into the young man. And I think that's a lot that has to do with a lot of his success. But yeah, so yeah, just because he's young though, that don't mean that he don't know nothing. It's just he don't have the type of experiences to pull from that Lomachenko has, because Lomachenko has fought at the highest level more than Devin Haney, professionally. So, but at the same time, yeah, that's two good keys to victory for Devin Haney. Palms rising, brought up some real good points. And I wish I had somebody for Vasyl Lomachenko, so maybe I can ask them, excuse me, about keys to victory. If not, I'm gonna ask Palms Rising once again. He got all this opportunity. Palms Rising got a lot of opportunity to get this money. But anyway, so Palms Rising, what do you think a key, at least one key to victory for Vasyl Lomachenko? Since you're the only one really here in the chat and participating. Now remember, y'all, participating in the chat is one of the ways to get picked to be in the running for the $100. That's a way. So Palms Rising, if you're still there, can you give me a key to victory for Vasyl Lomachenko? At least one. And you can piggyback off something you already said for Devin Haney. But while I'm waiting, I'm going to continue on with what I was kind of one of the train of thoughts I was talking about Teofimo Lopez using the jab. Um, and he was able to be successful with it because he had so much buzz around his name. Um, he had a lot of buzz on his name as far as knockouts and having power enough to knock you out with one punch. So, because Lomachenko was a little tentative, he just kept the jab in his face, man. And because Loma wasn't really throwing any punches, Teofimo Lopez walked away with those early rounds and end up winning the fight. So it is very possible for that to be part of a blueprint for Devin Haney. Is like we was mentioning in the chat, is that we don't know that Vasyl Lomachenko is gonna have that same respect for Devin Haney, you know. Okay, so Palms Rising said Loma has to go on the offensive early and work on Haney and use his experience and intelligence. Okay. So he got to get started early. So yeah, that's one of the things that was said, is that in that fight with Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney just, I mean, I'm talking about Devin Haney. In the fight with Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko, he's not a fast starter anyway, usually. But in that fight with Teofimo, it seemed like he went to sleep early, you know, right in the ring. It's like he was asleep, like he couldn't get nothing off. It's like he was thinking too much, you know. And sometimes fighters have to let their hands go in order to really get in the rhythm, you know. Now, when Lomachenko did get in the rhythm, he started winning some rounds in that fight, you know. But anyway, but yeah, I do agree that with Palms Rising, that Loma needs to go on the offensive early. Um, and knowing that Devin Haney has that jab, I think I mentioned this too. Um, one of those days, Vasyl Lomachenko was talking to a reporter in the interview, and they was talking about Devin Haney having a jab, and that Devin Haney is going to use that jab as a boxer, you know. And one of the things that one of the reporter was asking Lomachenko um, was, you know, about, I can't remember exactly how he asked him, but he was asking him about the jab of Devin Haney. So he was like, if you know that Devin Haney have a jab, of course I know. In other words, he was saying that if you feel like Devin Haney have a jab, what do you think about that? And do you think that I've been preparing for that? So yeah, I believe Lomachenko is very prepared for the jab. And one of the things I think a key to victory for him is to neutralize that jab. And I said this a little bit, I touched on yesterday, is, you know, Lomachenko is easy for fighters, even if they have a good jab, when they fight a southpaw, it's easy for that to go out the window because it just look a little more strange. And then you also have to account for the speed of that fighter. And yeah, everybody knows that Loma's IQ is through the roof. You know what I'm saying? So he understands distance and range. He understands that stuff, you know. The things that make Devin Haney, he understands those things, you know. Vasyl Lomachenko does. And it's really going to be exciting to watch and see how Lomachenko plans on getting past the jab, or better yet, how he will go about looking to I guess you'll say neutralize, like I said, neutralize that jab, you know, because I think that's what he's going to try to do. And I think he's going to try to do that early as well, because, you know, I don't think Loma wants to waste any time in this fight. I think he sees that fight with Teofimo as, man, if I just would have did this, if I just would have did that, if I would have started like this, hey, it's too late to think about that. But all you can think about now is what's in front of you. So I know he's gonna pull out all the stops for Devin Haney, and as well, I think that he knows that he needs to neutralize the jab. As a boxer, that is an advantage for Devin Haney. Devin Haney has a longer reach, and I think that's what he do. He's gonna try to establish that jab early, you know. So it'll behoove Lomachenko to find a way to neutralize that jab early. And I don't know. That's just one of them, and that's what I think. Um, but Lomachenko, I believe he is gonna come out a lot sooner than what he did in that Teofimo fight. Um, and I think mostly that's because Devin Haney is not known for being a puncher. So I think that that's one of the things that Lomachenko is going to try to take advantage of. But anyway, uh, oh yeah, Hans Rouser saying that Loma's going to be coming in with a chip on his shoulder. I really believe that too. See, this is the thing. Devin Haney is coming in this fight with all four belts at 135. He is looking for respect. That's one of the things he's very vocal about. He say, once I win this fight, I want y'all to give me the respect that I deserve. Now, the reason why to me the pressure is on Lomachenko is because, okay, first of all, Loma's like his name has respect already. He's not looking for respect, you know. I mean, he's just looking for his legacy. He's looking for undisputed in a weight class, you know. And the thing with Lomachenko, he's trying he Devin Haney is trying to prove himself in a way. Lomachenko still is trying to prove himself as well, because you think about this. Now he's already had some great accomplishments. I'm not taking that away at all. But the thing about Devin Haney about Vasyl Lomachenko is when he came into the professional rankings, his name was up here, and Top Rank put his name was right there. Top Rank put his name up here. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot talked about with Lomachenko. Lomachenko was supposed to be able to walk on water or everything except that. You know what I'm saying? And because he lost that his very second fight, which was for a world title, you know, it's like everybody was still expecting him to do great things. You know, it wasn't like, oh, it's a letdown. I was like, okay, well, here, fight somebody else. We gonna still give you opportunity to get a belt. He got a belt early in his career, still, even though he lost that second fight to Salido. You know what I'm saying? It still didn't set him back. You know, and Top Rank made sure that they gave him every opportunity that he wanted and that he needed to make himself a Hall of Fame career. You know what I'm saying? So he had those opportunities, and it haven't stopped. You know, the Lomachenko train continues, especially with Bob Arum. Now, Bob Arum ain't been with him like how he was from the beginning, but at the same time, he's still been trying to get Lomachenko opportunities. And if Lomachenko didn't have the things going on with his country that he would have had other opportunities. And so that's the reason why I really feel like Lomachenko is the one that has pressure on him because now he's getting older. I'm not saying he's old. Don't put that in my mouth. I'm saying he's getting older. You know, he's getting older. So now, to accomplish some of the things that some goals he set for himself, you know, he really he sees it as, hey man, I don't have that many more shots to make this thing happen, man. So I mean, I think a lot of pressure's on Lomachenko. And I think that's why he kind of not like boasting and really kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna knock Haney out. I'm gonna show him how we do it from the Ukraine. Nah, he ain't talking no trash, but I think he really feels a lot more pressure on himself, and he don't want to put more pressure on himself. You know, that's just my opinion. But okay, we've reached the 1 hour mark. We've reached the 1 hour mark. I have yet to have anybody to tell me that they are a Lomachenko fan and how one of the keys to victory for Lomachenko. I just have palms rising in the chat going off. So I want to say this before I leave. Tomorrow night is the night. We picking two people. So Palm Rising, man. If Palm Rising show up tomorrow, he almost have like a hands down, man, as far as participating in the chat. It was a guy yesterday that was participating that seemed like he was a Loma fan. And matter of fact, I got to go back and look. I really believe he said something to the effect that he felt Lomachenko was gonna win the fight. But he said something about Bushido KI, believe it was. He said something to the fact that, okay, yeah, he said something about Loma. He said, but I'm gonna have to see or something. But hey, we're gonna see tomorrow night. So tune in tomorrow night. I'm not gonna promise to be on at between 7:15, even 7:30. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Oh yeah, Palms Rising say, yeah, he was betting on Loma. So yeah, he said he betting on Loma. That's what Bob Arum said. Bob Arum say, hey, the safe money is on Loma. They say, hey, if you want to bet your money, bet on Loma. That's what Bob Arum is sticking by. But I mean, hey, to me, this is a 50-50 fight, man. You know, I mean, but in all fair fun, you know, people want to gamble, and you know that's their prerogative. But man, it's this thing here to me 50-50, man, 50-50. That's why people ask me, oh, what's your opinion? Who gonna win? And all of that. Only thing I could tell you is I don't think it's gonna be a knockout. That's the only thing I could tell you about this fight. I think it's going to be a pure boxing match. Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. One guy could get the better of the other one. One punch can change, one series of punches could change the fight drastically. And remember, like I said, everybody knows that straight right down the pipe from an orthodox fighter to a southpaw is kryptonite. And the same thing vice versa. For an orthodox fighter, kryptonite is that left hand coming down the pipe, you know. So either guy can get caught because you have a southpaw and an orthodox fighter. That power hand from either guy, you know, could change the whole fight, you know, in a little bit of time, you know. So I'm waiting to see that. And some of the things, just like you seen, Loma got dropped by what? Jorge Linares? Who he got dropped by? I think that was. Loma makes some mistakes now. Loma has some very fancy footwork, very unorthodox. It's not like most guys' footwork, but he has some little muscule faults, like flaws. Like you see when he like fighters are supposed to keep their base up under them. It's times that he pity pats that lead foot, and when he have to step back fast, like back up, sometimes he can get caught off balance, and that's how he got dropped. That's how he got dropped with Lenard. That's how he got dropped. So I mean, like it's little flaws he makes. That's habits. You know what I'm saying? Like he does it frequently that fighters can take advantage of. If they quick enough, they mind compute it quick enough, they can tell, oh yeah, I got him. You can take advantage of it. And that didn't change the outcome of the fight, him getting knocked down, but I'm saying in this fight, one little thing could change the whole complex of the fight. I mean, that's why I'm excited about it. I did want to talk about the undercard. The only thing I'm really gonna say, because I'm about to leave, I got to go. But Oscar Valdez is on the undercard. I found that intriguing. Oscar Valdez, um, Oscar Valdez is a good fighter, and I think that losing to Shakur Stevenson is not really like a big hit on his career. Shakur Stevenson is like an anomaly. And I think the more that Shakur Stevenson proves that, the more people start going to see they're going to start seeing that it wasn't so bad for Oscar Valdez to lose to Shakur Stevenson. However, he does need to rebuild his career, and I think like all the fights that he have from now to probably about a year and a half from now is going to have to be him winning convincingly, dominating, or knocking people out. Because I mean, the thing with Val, like, what more do he need to prove? He's been a world champion. I mean, he does need to put some legacy touches on his career, but I wish him well. I wish him well, but we'll see. But anyway, everybody, you are invited to meet tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Also, you're invited for the fight. Like I said, if you're not going to order the fight pay-per-view, you can come on this channel and I will call the main event fight. I'm not going to be on for like 5 hours watching the prelims and then watching the little fights, before the fight that's even on ESPN. Nah, I'll just cover the main event. Vasyl Lomachenko versus Devin Haney. So if you want to know what's going on, hey, Daddy P, Slap Happy Gorilla is going down. So Palms Rising, I appreciate you for participating in the chat. I appreciate everybody that stopped by tonight. We will reconvene tomorrow night at around 8 p.m. 8 p.m. So that's when we're gonna pick who's gonna be. That's right. Palms Rising put $ all in the chat. That's right. That's what it's about. That money, young. Get this money. That's what Daddy P and Happy Gorilla wanted to do for this particular fight, which is one of the biggest fights this year so far. Y'all know Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that was a bigger fight, especially as far as revenue. But as far as legacy, this to me is a big fight as well. This fight is for undisputed. So really, some people say this fight is what is head and shoulders. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I just can't wait for the fight. I'm excited about this fight. So I'm gonna go ahead and end with that. I invite you all to come back tomorrow at 8 p.m. and I will be calling the fight. I'll tell you a little bit about that tomorrow. This is Daddy P. Go ahead and slap that like button for me for Slap Happy Gorilla. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you can be notified every time it go down. This Daddy P signing off. Out of there.